up guys, welcome to the next episode of KingBarra. I'm not sure when this is going to end up getting released, but we are here with the engine. Going to try and get as much of this engine together as we can at the moment. So we've sort of been through the plan for the engine when we pulled the engine down, but we are keeping this thing fairly simple. It is just going to be a simple cruiser. The intention is not to build a 10-second car, but the intention was to essentially spend the money where it was important to ensure the car was future-proof for such a thing. But in any case, to do something like that in future, it's going to be a fully built engine anyway. So for this iteration, and to get the car done the way the customer wants the car to be at this stage, very simple stock bottom end gas Barra green top BF engine. So we've got our 3R rods, which are the better rods out of the Barras. And by all accounts, a stock bottom end Barra with the 3R rods is good for 700 horsepower. You know, if it's tuned correctly, there's no reason we can't do that, and that is plenty enough for what we want to do with this car at this time. So it's very simple, just a stock bottom end rebuild, just to refresh it up, make sure it's nice and fresh for the car. I managed to get some new rod bolts from a local Ford dealership out here to replace the rod bolts, or the rod bolts in the rods. To my understanding, they are torque to yield, the rod bolts. That's why we went to the effort of getting new ones. They were actually ended up quite easy to get, and they weren't very expensive either. I think they were only about $90. So very cheap insurance just to put new rod bolts in if you are doing a rebuild. So we'll be reusing the main bolts. As far as I'm aware, they're not torque to yield. They can be reused till the cow comes home as long as they are torqued properly. We've got new ACL race series bearings, ARP head studs, ARP other hardware, Hastings rings. We've also got some billet oil pump gears and a billet oil pump backing plate from Zoo Performance. So a big thanks to Zoo Performance for supplying that. We're also putting a atomic heavy duty timing kit. So all of your general Barra upgrades that anybody does for insurance, that's oil pump, timing set, head studs, valve springs and stuff. We'll get to the head when we get there, but we've got valve springs for this thing's from Pro Cam. And we're using a complete permaseal gasket kit with a multi-layer steel head gasket. Once again, by all accounts, for what we want to do this engine, all of these parts are going to be absolutely adequate. So I know there's going to be people in the comments, because there always is, why wouldn't you just forge it? There is no need to spend that sort of money. There's no reason for us to do that. Like I said, this combo is very cheap, plenty adequate, and with a rebuild, it's going to do exactly what we want to do in this car. So obviously, as well as this, you've seen we've got our custom built sump, which will be going on it. We've got a new dipstick location for the new sump, which is from an FG that's been highly modified. I've just got done doing the final clean and bottle brush of the block, and we've just cleaned up the crank, so we're ready to start doing our bearing clearances, get our rings gapped, and start getting this thing together. So because of the color scheme we want to go with the car, we need to try and get the bottom end and the head together. And then hopefully our sump's ready. We can get our sump on this thing, put an old engine cover on it and do our paint job. And then obviously it'll have to get sort of re-pulled apart a little bit, and then a few other things have got to go on to complete it the way we have it envisioned. So anyway, we'll get this engine together. Rightio guys, big Barra's coming along. Interestingly enough, all of the mains are actually, not the mains, sorry, all of the big ends were actually all very, very tight. So Barra's from factory are tight engines. They're tighter than most as far as what the factory specifications for the bearing clearances are. I think they specify for the big ends to be ideally between 0.025 and 0.04 mil, which is about 1 thou or 0.9 thou to around 1.5 thou, which for a journal that's just over 2 inches is fairly tight. It's, you know, that's a pretty tight engine. But a lot of these came up, some of them came up as tight as half a thou. We've got three that were half a thou and 3 that were 1 thou. So that is just a little bit too tight. I'd rather not. And then the mains, they actually specify very similar clearances for the mains. They all came up all between, just over 2.5 thou on the mains, which I'm happy to leave for a performance engine that's going to be getting lent on pretty hard and doing a bit of RPM and stuff like that. I'm more than happy with what they ended up as. So what they do make, they make a HX standard bearing size, and they're 1 thou bigger. And they're designed for exactly this high performance, high RPM situations where you want quite a bit of oil flow. Is what they're specified and what ACL makes them for. So my plan is to get a set of those bearings, and basically they're 1 thou extra size. So if you fish the shells and use one shell from the standard set and 1 shell from the HX set, you can actually adjust your mains at half a thou at a time. So if I can get these all to 1.5 thou, I'll be pretty happy. So for these half thou ones will be a top and bottom shell from the HX set, and these other ones that are 1 thou, if I give them 1/2 of a shell from a HX set, or 1 shell from a HX set instead of both shells, they should open up to 1.5 thou, and we should be pretty consistent 1.5 thou through all the big ends. So I'll have to wait for those to get here, and then we can keep going with getting this thing together. Righto guys, so as you just saw, I got the head together with our new valve springs. The valve springs I chucked in this thing are the Crow BTK BA6T. So these are the really heavy duty valve springs from Crow. That's that. We finally have our new set of HX standard bearings. So much better now guys, so now we're ranging from 1.5 up to about 1.7 thou, which I'm much more comfortable with considering the use of the engine. So I'm happy with that. Let's get it done. So this time around I've got to punch all of the standard rod bolts out and put in our new ones for the final assembly, and then I will measure them on stretch. Rings are mint too, they've come up really well. Righto guys, it has been a mission to get to this point, but how good does it look with a few of these things together? How freaking awesome. So finally with the cover painted, engine together, it's been a long process, but just looking incredible. Exactly what we had in mind. I cannot wait to get this thing in the engine bay and start getting some things together. It's gonna be looking so good. So huge shout out to our boys there at Kalula Sandblasting and Coatings for doing all of our ceramic and powder coating, and then obviously Rex's awesome paint job and my paint job on the actual engine, all the stuff that's hidden. But yeah, looking amazing. This forward facing looks so good. It just, the whole scheme is exactly what we had in mind, and yeah, like I said, I can't wait to actually get this in the engine bay of the big girl and start getting a bit more of it together and seeing it come together. It's just looking so good. I'm so absolutely stoked with how it's looking. Like I said, exactly what we were thinking. So this is actually the first time we've had the intake manifold and the fuel rail all dummied up with the thermostat housing and stuff. So obviously, as you guys saw, we documented we had to modify the thermostat housing to fit the forward-facing plenum. But at that point, we didn't have a fuel rail yet. So now that we finally got a fuel rail, we can actually dummy the whole thing together. And unfortunately, the fuel rail also has some very serious issues with the thermostat housing that are simply just not going to work at all. So I actually can't get this bolt in the thermostat housing with the rail in. I'm hoping that with that bolt actually done up, the rail will still go on. But at this stage, it's just going to have to be bunged in the front, and we're going to have to deadhead the fuel system because there's no way that we can have a return, any sort of return the way this rail setup is. So it just is what it is. That's what we're working with, guys. So we'll sort it out. But yeah, hopefully that bolt goes in. This is still the 3/4 length spaces. Our injectors are actually half length, so we may have to order some injector spaces and actually bring that rail back out a fair bit more, because I feel like even if that bolt goes in and the rail goes back on the way it is, I think once it's got the half length injector spaces, it's definitely not going to. So a bit unfortunate that it obviously needs a lot of modification to work, but it is what it is. That's what we're working with, so that's what we'll make work. But yeah, looking awesome. Pretty excited about it. Anyway guys, thanks for watching. Stoked to finally be at this point. We'll talk more about the color scheming and what we're going to do about our lines and stuff when we get this thing in the engine bay, which will be over the next couple of days. So trying to smash this thing out, and freaking hell, I'm keen to see it in there. I'm so excited. So again guys, thanks for watching. It's cracking along, it's coming along, it's coming together as well as we expected it, or as well as we had in our head. So man, we're excited for the final product. It's going to be awesome. So thanks for watching. Head to the merch shop, grab yourself some merch, go into the draw to win yourself a new car. We'll see you on the next one. Peace out, see you, bye. What's going on guys? We've got new merch out. New merch has landed. Super excited about these new designs. We got Team No Drift in Jack Stands We Trust. These are sick, and that's because it's a bit of an ongoing joke that Rex and I's drift cars may never get finished. We've got ourselves a new V80 shirt. Awesome attention to detail in this design. There is no mistaking that that is V80. Wicked shirt. Time to hit the road. Get around it. This one, super excited about this one being a tuner. You guys have been asking for It Is What It Is shirts for a long time, so we've got It Is What It Is there on the pocket logo, but check that out. Keyboard Warrior, as you can see, tuning laptop, absolutely stoked with this design. Tuners will get it. Even people who aren't tuners, you'll get it. Get around it. Awesome shirt. We've got ourselves another new R31 shirt. Bit of homage to the R31s of the channel that sort of got us to where we are today. So all three R31s that were built in the channel, my old 31, Liam's old 31, Rex's old 31. We've even got Lep Lab on the old plate on Liam's one. Bit of throwback. OGs will know. We've still got some older designs available on the website. We've got our Drift for Range shirt. That's me and Rex in Ratfink in the LS Sylvia on the back there. Absolutely wicked shirt. We've still got Send 'Em to Heaven, also available in long sleeves. These new designs are not available in long sleeves or hoodies at this point because it is coming into the start of summer here, but if you want long sleeves or hoodies, drop a comment. I'll try and make it happen. We've got old school Lep Labs OG shirts still available. Old school OG 31 shirt. If you're about that, get around it. They're still on there. Got some other older boostgumps shirts, pink bits. That is a really cool design. And we've got our old Ratfink shirt there as well. That's a sick shirt too. And the OG plain logo boostgumps logo shirt. If you just want something a bit more plain, get around it, guys. New merch out. There's going to be a lot more coming, and we are giving away a car. We are giving away a turbo diesel 80 series Land Cruiser to one lucky person who buys merch. Head to the website www.boostgumps.com, check the terms and conditions and ensure you are eligible to win, and get yourself some new merch. some new hot clothes, and you may just win yourself a pretty well set up 4 touring turbo diesel 80 series Land Cruiser. Don't get caught with your pants down wearing these shirts like a fool. Get yourself a cool shirt and win yourself a car. Go on, go get it. Get around it.